I met a gypsy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, like, every year come in A1, like, it's fresh, like, you're ready to go, and excited to see people on the new bikes. But even, like, Sexton, like, he's going to want to win this year, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
He's a bulldog. He's hard at it, and I think he's got his own compound or something now, does he?
It looks like he's got something. Has he dropped any vlogs lately? I don't think he has, eh? Oh, just his Insta. Yeah, surely. And I mean, he's had a pretty good run without injuries. Obviously, like a lot of bike time.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, it's a pretty dope setup. Yeah, I mean, he's just had like a crazy good run, and I think too. Turn it down, Victor. I think that like the thing too that makes such a massive difference is not having to fully redevelop the whole bike again.
Yeah.
And then I think, because obviously you go from like year one, you just spend so much time testing the bike instead of just riding the bike. Like, you know, I'm sure they get a setting and then they spend some time on it, but then they're always chasing like a new setting. And then especially too, I think last year wouldn't have been as good for HRC because you got Kenny, who's like the main rider, and then Chase, who's like the main rider.
Yeah.
And then who do you make do the dog day testing? And then I remember Todd was on here once and he said how weird Kenny's suspension was, like when he rode the bike. So then if you're Sexton, you pretty much can't trust anything that Kenny says because it's such like a different setup to what he would be used to, or like what he would want to run.
Well, Sexton's been pretty open about that as of late.
Oh, really?
That I don't know where I've heard it. I've heard it a bit. That Kenny's bike was nothing the same, but him and Colt are pretty similar.
Yeah, that's why I heard that.
Yeah, and I think maybe for a long time he was probably riding. He almost probably was given Kenny's setup from the start, and then he's just like tried to find his own one since. But I think he said that Nichols is pretty close to his, and they work with each other. So
yeah, and then I think the thing that makes a difference there is like Colt's clearly the second rider on the team. There's no one would make that argument, and he's got a 1-year deal, and he'll be wanting to stay there. And there's times where you'll see guys like an Andrew Short or a Ivan Tedesco, like once they're not like winning all the races, but they're such good team dudes, and they're so valuable at testing and creating like really good base settings for the main guy. So I'm sure that Colt would be like fully trying to play that role within the team, and then it'd end up helping both of them. But like I feel like that's a massive plus in Chase's corner this season. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's third year as well on that 450.
Yeah.
And he's had 2 good years of like, and then especially last year, he's just like, it's just rolling into it, and it's just like it's his perfect
like
year
building.
For him. Yeah.
And then you think about, he won his 3rd season on the 250, I'm pretty sure. Was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or was it his 2nd season that he won? 3rd year that he won?
Yeah.
And then he won. Yeah. So yeah, he's sort of like that building, you know, kind of into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's going to be fucking good. And then you got to think that after having the season that he had with Eli Outdoors, that you'd probably be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just do the same thing again, you know, like once you've done it once, you'd have to like back yourself to go again.
He's like I said before, bulldog, but like just mongrel. He doesn't like give a fuck.
Yeah.
When that helmet's off, it's kind of like Webb in a way. He's got his own personality. It's different, but yeah, they're just so dedicated. Like they just do the motos, and as soon as that microphone's down, he just walks away. Like doesn't care.
Yeah, it's just like a crazy desire to win. It's just so
doesn't let the fame and the attention get him. It's just like
they just want to win so fucking bad, and I think that's like that's a real Cooper thing. That's a real like Sexton thing. Like there's those guys like Ricky was the same, just wanted to fucking win. Like and they're the dudes like hyper competitive. You see that with Jack Doohan. Like, he's just one of those guys that he's so gnarly competitive. Like, almost makes you sick. He'll fight you, like, literally try and fight you over a game, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're the kind of guys that end up doing, like, crazy good.
Yeah. And, as well, Cincerello, he's back. He's looking
Did you
good.
listen to the Pulp thing with him?
No, is that about the ayahuasca thing?
Nah. Is that? I don't know.
I don't know.
That'd be sick if it was.
I don't know.
Did he say he did ayahuasca?
He did in the off-season when he got hurt.
Oh, that's gangster. I didn't know that.
They've talked about it a little bit, but I don't know. I forget if I've listened to that one.
Yeah, right. I should listen to it.
Yeah, I don't know if he talks about it too much. He might even just say, like, I don't.
Where'd you hear that?
They talked about it on there, on Pulp.
Really?
In the past, like, because he didn't race outdoors.
That's
so I think,
dope. I had no idea about that.
I haven't looked into it too much, but I've heard a little bit, and I heard it's pretty wild. Like,
yeah, right.
But, I mean, fuck, he's just chasing anything he can get. Like, fingers crossed for him, because I don't want to see him get hurt again.
Nah.
But if he can stay up, like, he's quick.
Yeah.
But as well, he doesn't have that motocross. Maybe it's going to kind of build back into it again.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I feel bad for AC. Like, there's a guy that he's just got literally every ingredient, man.
Yeah.
He's super fast. He's the most likable guy. He's one of the smartest guys. He's got one of the best fan bases. Like, he's on one of the best bikes. Just everything is going for him except injuries.
Like, for the typical homeschool motocrosser dude, it's just like, he's smart, man. Like, just the way he talks, I'm like, shit, like, what did he do? Or, like, I don't know if it was his old boy, that just the way he was brought up around his family. Just smart, man. Yeah, like, he knows a lot, and he's just very good at speaking. And even when he did that night in the booth at the Supercross.
Oh, unreal, dude.
Yeah, like, you would think he was just normally in there. Yeah. And, yeah.
I did an interview with him. It's actually on our channel. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was in like 2014, and I had this project that I was like almost shooting a pilot for to try and sell Red Bull this project. I still would love to do it one day, actually, but I sat down with him at night just at his place, and it went for like an hour and a half. And that was one of the first times where I wanted to do the podcast. Yeah, it was after that.
Oh, this is like pre-Gypsy Tales.
Yeah, dude, 2014. So it was like 4 years before.
That'd mean his first year pro?
Fuck, maybe it was, man. Yeah. But I remember doing it with him, and like Wes Williams was sitting there doing it as well. And I was just like, fuck, that was like one of the best chats I've ever had in my life. Like, we literally just sat down. It was because it was like for this long form deal, I was like trying to shoot a documentary. It's like a documentary type project. So I just sat like, an hour and a half and sat down. Just had all these questions about this, movie doco thing that I was trying to make. Yeah. And then that fully was like, it was like half an idea for the podcast. Yeah. But it didn't fully spark. Yeah. So like I could have started it if I had like a little bit more inspiration, or I don't know. It's like weird when you look back at that sort of stuff, like why I didn't make the podcast like straight after that. Yeah. But that was definitely a time where I was like, dude, that was sick. Like, I actually don't even need to make the doco. Like, I could just post that. Yeah. And people would like it. Yeah. And
that would have been like early days of podcasts and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
People were like, fuck, he talked for ages, man.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, it was like a podcast in that I was talking back. It wasn't just an interview, and I didn't have questions. I just had topics. Yeah. And because it was like that doco style, I was just looking for like one-liners. It was kind of almost a version of the podcast, you know.
Just a young Jace in
America. Yeah. But then it wasn't the Dungey. Then I did the Dungey thing for Red Bull. Like, we actually did a podcast for Red Bull. Yeah. And then after that, I was like, I'll just do this. Yeah. I was like, I remembered the Adam thing, and I was like, this is just like the Adam thing. And then that's what started it. But,
yeah, it's funny.
But yeah, so like Adam Cincerello is one of the big reasons why Gypsy Tales even exists.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to get him back on.
Yeah. He's never been on. And we were gonna, I thought we were gonna do it at the start of this year. I like half mentioned this on the Slater podcast, and then I like didn't really elaborate on it. And I was like, I probably should have I don't know where I cut off my train of thought on it, but yeah, he said he sent a message and was just like, "Oh, I just don't want to do it right now." Like,
and that's I haven't seen since he's come back from that ayahuasca thing. I don't exactly know when it was, but they were throwing kind of time frames around it. And there's not much vlogs happening. He's not heavy on social media like he probably was. And maybe he's just more focused on it.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.